I asked a lot of questions, so my soon-to-be mother-in-law humiliated me for being stupid, but my husband didn't defend me, and now I'm questioning whether I should cancel the wedding. I, 23 feet, am engaged to John, 24 meters. We have been together for 5 years and plan to get married in July 2025. I always thought his family liked me because we get along well. He has 2 older brothers, 26 meters and 29 meters, both married. Honestly, I was very excited to have them all as my in-laws. They have always been kind to me. Some important information: about a year ago, while scrolling on Instagram, I came across a profile that was cringy but in a cute way. It belonged to an older woman who shared inspirational quotes. I remember one particular post that said something like, "Only stupid people pretend to know everything. Don't pretend. Just ask." This quote changed me in many ways. Before that, I was always worried about embarrassing myself if I didn't know something. After reading that quote, I realized that if I always pretended to know everything, I'd miss out on actually learning. So, I decided to change my habits and start admitting when I genuinely didn't know something. If someone is talking about the war in Kosovo, I ask questions to understand the topic better. And I do ask a lot of questions sometimes. I even open the Notes app and write down questions that I want to find answers to later. Here are my latest ones. How does time work in a black hole? Why do some snails have shells and others don't? What food is okay for ducks? How does the light bulb work, the old ones with gas inside? Does everyone see colors the same way? And how can we know that? Sorry for the long introduction, but it's necessary for understanding what kind of person I am. I know I might sometimes come across as annoying. Now on to the problem. His parents hosted a small barbecue last weekend only for the family. So it was his mom, 54 feet, dad, 59 meters, brothers, and their wives. I was the last person to show up because I had to work late. As I was walking towards the backyard, I heard John's mom talking about me. To be honest, she wasn't just talking about me, she was mocking me. I heard her say in a high-pitched voice, "How does the sun work? Where should I put the fork? Why does nobody like me? How do I wipe my ass?" I just stood there with a sinking feeling. I couldn't move, so I just stood there. And I heard them all laughing. One of the wives said, "I actually don't mind her always asking questions. I think it's cute," which made me hopeful that they would say something like, "Yeah, sure, we're just playing, we love that." But none of them did. Instead, the mom replied, "It's not cute. She's just stupid." After that, they laughed again. I heard John laughing. My heart broke in that moment because he didn't say one positive thing. He didn't defend me. He just laughed. I quietly turned around and left the house. I texted John that I got sick and had to stay home. Now I'm wondering how I should approach this situation. We live together, and I've been sleeping in the guest bedroom for now, using the excuse that I don't want him to get sick from being around me. I can't ignore him forever, and I can't pretend to be sick anymore because it's been too long. I'm not sure how to proceed. Maybe it was just a misunderstanding. I'm considering talking to them about this, but I'm worried they won't be honest with me. I can't marry him if he really thinks I'm stupid. But I also can't marry into a family who thinks so little of me. But maybe it was a joke and I shouldn't take it so seriously. I'm so torn apart, and every day I convince myself a bit more that it's okay and sometimes we should all laugh at ourselves. Now I feel like I'm just going crazy. I would really appreciate some advice. Edit. Many comments say they cannot stand people like me. I agree that sometimes I can be a bit too much with the questions, but with that being said, I still think I'm within reason. I don't do it around people I just met, I rarely do it at parties or other gatherings. I usually do it with people who are close to me, who I think wouldn't judge me, or with people who specifically have knowledge about something and are willing to share it. If I'm part of a conversation, I'm not rude and I don't interrupt. I usually just ask 1 or 2 questions. If a discussion is about climate change, I'm not asking about monkeys. I'm also not a complete dumbass. I don't ask questions that generally would be considered dumb to other people. Those I just write in my notes and check answers for later on the internet. I'm capable of reading, so I make good use of it. But after all, I still do ask a lot of questions. Update. First of all, thank you to everyone who reached out to answer my questions about black holes, snails, ducks, light bulbs, and other topics. I would love to have you as my friends. For those who said I should just shut up, I don't really care if you find me annoying or hard to be around. I'm okay with that. I don't exist to please everyone. I'm just here to have a good time, pursue my own interests, and learn. Most of you told me to break up with him and at the very least confront him, so that's what I decided to do. You gave me the push and confidence to do it. Before confronting John, I texted the wife of John's brother, the one who said she liked me asking questions, and asked if we could meet up for coffee. She agreed. We met, and I didn't see the point in pretending I didn't hear their conversation. After some small talk, I said, "I heard you all talking about me during the barbecue." She immediately got sad and said she felt embarrassed. She explained that it wasn't a joke or out of context, it was just mean and hurtful. She apologized for not defending me more, but I told her it's okay and I understand. I wanted to ensure I understood the situation and see it for what it really was, bullying and laughing at me behind my back. At this point, I had to confront John. In my last post, many comments warned that he might try to gaslight me, and you were right. We had dinner together for the first time since the barbecue. I had been avoiding him. I know, not very mature, but other than you guys, I don't have a strong support system. My family and best friends are hundreds of kilometers away, and I only have 2 good friends here. I was so stressed I thought I might pass out. My legs were shaking, and I was terrified because I knew deep down that this moment might end my 5-year relationship. I looked him in the eyes and asked, "How does the sun work?" He looked confused, so I followed with, "Where should I put my fork? Why does nobody like me?" At this point, realization hit him, and he started nervously laughing. I said I was there and heard them. After the initial shock passed, he got mad and said it was rude to eavesdrop. I said it's rude to bully people. He tried telling me it was just a joke and that I shouldn't be so uptight. He said it was really funny. I said I didn't find it funny and went to the guest room to calm down. He started panicking, asking me to please talk to him. He became much more apologetic and said he would be 100% honest with me. I asked if his mother had made similar comments before the barbecue. He said yes. I asked if he ever defended me. He said he tries to. I don't know if I believe him. He told me he loves and respects me. I don't know if I believe that either. I said I love him too, but I need a break. He's all I've ever known. He was my first and only partner. I have no outside perspective, no experience. I need a moment to think. I'll be staying at my friend's house for a while to think everything through. The apartment lease is in his name anyway. After gathering some of my things and leaving, he kept texting me nonstop. He tried calling, but I didn't respond. I was very hurt because he tried to belittle my feelings and only started apologizing when he realized I might break up with him. The next day, I decided to give him another chance to explain himself and came back to the apartment. He seemed very sad and tired. He said he told his mother that I overheard them. I said I don't care. It's his time to step up and show me that he cares. I'm not interested in an apology from his mother. I'm already done with her. I can't put up with his behavior and being mocked like we're in primary school. I saw a comment saying her ego is probably hurting. I think it's true. She never had the chance or desire to pursue an education. She's a very good homemaker but doesn't have many interests outside of that. If I ask her about making tomato soup, she'll lecture me for 30 minutes about adding enough sugar but not too much. She'll lecture anyone willing to listen. But when someone talks about something she's not familiar with, she gets defensive and tries to imply that nobody cares about it, and if it's not relevant to her, it shouldn't be discussed. Once again, John tried telling me to relax because it was just a joke, and at this point, I'd had enough. I took off my ring and told him that his behavior is a joke and I can't be the punchline. I wished him and his family the best and told him to look in the mirror to see if they're really as superior as they think. I said I'd be back with my friends soon to pick up the rest of my stuff and not to contact me again unless it's about moving my things out. And that's it. I'm done. Thank you all for the advice. Without you, I wouldn't have had the confidence to leave this man. I know I deserve better. I can't be with someone who can't stand up for me, and I wouldn't be able to feel comfortable around his family, so I'm done with the relationship. I hope they treat his next girlfriend better. Thank you again for the advice.
Relevant comments. To answer some of your questions, peas are good for ducks, they really love frozen ones, and it's fun watching them gobble them up. Black holes are weird. To an outside observer, time appears to slow down and eventually stop at the event horizon. What happens beyond that is speculation. I don't think we have the physics to explain it yet. But to someone near the black hole, time would seem to pass normally, because they too are slowing down. There's a half-decent explanation here. It has a lot of math, but you can skim those bits and still understand the gist of it, I think. Seeing colors is something philosophers and psychologists have been arguing for ages, and we will probably never really know. Barring disability, we all detect the same range of wavelengths, and societally we have agreed on basic divisions of those wavelengths to different colors along the spectrum. People arguing whether a certain color is more blue or green probably stems from where exactly they each placed those divisions when they were learning colors more than something in their eyes being different. But whether we are actually seeing the same wavelengths the same way, like, if I hopped into your head, using your eyes and brain, would the world look the same to me? There's no real way to know that. Snails, the short answer is evolution. Probably a type of snail with shells split off from slugs and diversified from there, while ones without just kept going on and adapting to their environment in different ways. Like how some dinosaurs developed wings and became birds, and the rest didn't, and then died from an asteroid for the most part. Light bulbs depends. Are you talking like the halogen light bulbs that still have a filament but the bulb is filled with halogen gas? Or neon and fluorescent ones where there is just gas, no filament? Halogen, basically the same as any filament bulb. Electricity goes through, the filament is much thinner than the copper wires bringing the peer to it, so the electricity sort of backs up. It can't pass through the filament as easily, but more is still flowing all the time. So instead of all that energy just flowing through the wire filament, some of it is converted to heat energy, making the filament heat up until it glows red hot. Unfortunately, what also happens is that with all this heat, some of the tungsten from the filament evaporates, technically sublimates, since it's going from a solid straight to a gas, and deposits on the inside of the light bulb. That's why old light bulbs tend to look like they have darker glass. Eventually, enough of the tungsten is evaporated that the filament gets too fragile and breaks. In a halogen light bulb, they put a little bit of a halogen gas in the bulb, which causes a chemical reaction to occur. The tungsten evaporates, reacts with the gas to produce a new chemical that then reacts with the hot filament, depositing the tungsten back where it belongs and allowing the gas molecules to return to their original form. This makes them last longer. And because the filaments are made more durable, they can operate at a higher temperature, which means they put out more light. Neon and fluorescent bulbs are just gas, with an electrode at each end, and a mix of gases in the tube between. Electricity flows to one of the electrodes, and since it has nowhere to go, the energy reacts with the gas molecules. They get excited and produce a glow, but in glowing lose the electron they had picked up, but that electron is picked up by another gas molecule, etc. until the whole thing is glowing. Different mixes of gas produce different colors. At the far end, the other electrode picks up dropped electrons, which flow through it as electricity again, completing the loop. I think there might be a few differences between neon, fluorescent, and like sodium lamps that are usually used for floodlights and the like, but the basic mechanics are the same as far as I know. Hope that helped, and also your possible future family are jerks. Intellectual curiosity is awesome. As long as you aren't constantly interrupting conversations to ask questions and disrupting the flow of someone's story or something like that, you're fine. They're jerks. If you are interrupting a lot, maybe work on keeping the questions for later, when there's a natural break in the discussion, or approaching someone who mentioned a thing you want to know more about afterwards to ask if they can either help you or point you to good resources where you can learn for yourself.